In ancient times, within Beijing's Forbidden City, there was a eunuch who had reached the apex of his era, from his martial prowess to his political standing. This man was preparing to pass away. A mistake. This man was preparing to perform a ritual of rebirth, and his name was eunuch Li Taishu. He was the one who manipulated the current emperor of the Great Ming Dynasty like a puppet. Known as the most treacherous official in history, he monopolized the imperial court, and held the nation's government in his grasp. Previously, it was he who had elevated the unnotable third princess to the throne. A man of such overwhelming influence, yet there was one singular thing he could never do: indulge in carnal pleasure. Just as Li Taishu was about to begin the transmigration procedure, the female emperor of the Great Ming suddenly burst through the door, crying out in panic, "Why do you wish to depart this world, old master? Please, you must stop this bizarre ritual." This female emperor of the Great Ming is known by the title Emperor Yuani. Emperor Yuani knelt beside Li Taishu's bed and began to weep. "Is the union of yin and yang truly so wonderful? What is it that I lack? Riches, power. I can bestow even more upon you. Old master, I beg you, stop the ritual." Li Taishu glanced at Emperor Yuani, then uttered his final decision, "Your Majesty, this old servant's mind is made up. I cannot serve your Majesty until the end. For this disloyalty, I hope your Majesty can forgive me." Others often asked Li Taishu why he was so obsessed with carnal pleasures. They wouldn't know, but for him, this was a matter of utmost importance. Because from his past life until now, for over 50 years, he had remained a virgin. Before he transmigrated, he was hit by a truck while crossing the road. He died at the prime age of 28, only to be reborn in the Central Plains after 50 years, waking up as a 12-year-old boy. He could have accepted that. But it was outrageous that he was kidnapped by slave traders. And they weren't ordinary traffickers. They castrated Li Taishu and sold him to the palace to become a eunuch. To restore his body, Taishu did everything possible. He sought out a renowned physician with miraculous skills, helped the third princess ascend to the throne, and practiced martial arts to the point of completely transforming his body, even becoming the #1 master in the imperial palace. However, creating something out of nothing was impossible. What did it matter if he had immense wealth, overflowing power, and peerless martial arts? In the end, he was still a eunuch. Therefore, Li Taishu decided to be reborn into a new body to enjoy worldly pleasures, to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Not just ordinary pleasure, but bliss with peerless beauties. Otherwise, he could never be content. Finally, Li Taishu waved his hand and said, "Welcome, your Majesty." Immediately, a eunuch led the empress out. The empress burst into tears, lamenting, "How could you do this? You are like a father to me. I cannot let you pass away in vain like this." Lying on the bed with his eyes closed, Li Taishu thought, "This child, even after becoming the empress, still likes to act spoiled. It's probably because we grew up together, so to me, the empress is like a daughter or a blood sister. In truth, when she cried just now, I was a little swayed. But no means no. The empress is family to me, not a woman." A mysterious man with his face completely covered by a hood, which had an eye drawn on it, clasped his hands respectfully, and asked, "Your Majesty, the great rebirth art is a heaven-defying fate-changing technique. 90 out of 100 who attempt it will lose their lives. Are you still determined to proceed?" Li Taishu looked down at where his manhood, long lost, used to be, his heart itching beyond words. With grim determination, the young man made up his mind. "To live like this is worse than death." Taishu spoke with a cold tone. "The rebirth ritual will proceed. They've enjoyed enough power, and I'm tired of the money. As long as I can be reborn, I'll do anything." The scene shifts to a forest with a fairly clear blue sky. A bald old man's urgent voice calls out, "Hey, hey." A young boy's drowsy eyes gradually open. He sat up anxiously, clutching his head in surprise and asking, "Where is this?" The bald old man spoke up, "Are you awake? I'm glad you're okay." Seeing the bald man, the boy was startled, and thought in horror, "This guy is..." The bald man smiled, extending a hand. "I saw you lying unconscious on the main road, so I brought you here." The boy, shocked, continued his thoughts, Wang San. The man who castrated me and sold me to the palace 50 years ago. Wasn't he supposed to have been stabbed to death by bandits? Now he's alive and well. Could it be that this isn't rebirth, but regression? I thought rebirth meant being revived in a different body. The boy was indeed the eunuch Li Taishu, who had regressed to the past. Suddenly realizing the situation, Li Taishu hastily pulled down his pants to check on his little bird. To his relief, it was still there. Seeing Li Taishu's unusual behavior, the old man Wang San asked, "Kid, Are you hurt anywhere? Flustered, Li Taishu looked at Wang San, unsure how to answer. Then, a bold idea flashed in his mind. The young man turned and said, Uncle, thank you for saving me, but I think I might have hit something. My wrist hurts a little. Could you take a look for me? Wang San helped Li Taishu up and replied, Is that so? Let me see. My house has many good medicinal herbs. Come with me. Suddenly a sinister smile appeared on Li Taishu's face. He grabbed Wang San's middle finger, bent it backward, and asked, So, you want to kidnap me again, cut off my precious parts, and sell me as a eunuch? Hearing Li Taishu's question, Wang San, in both pain and shock, exclaimed, How? How did you know? Immediately after, the young man ran behind Wang San, twisted his arm back, and forced him down onto one knee. Li Taishu thought with excitement, although I've just regressed and don't have my internal energy, the martial arts techniques from my past life are still fresh in my mind. The skills of the top master in the Imperial Palace don't just disappear so easily. Next, Taiju wrapped an arm around Wang San's neck and held his head, squeezing tightly. Panic, Wang San cried out. What? What do you want to do? Li Taishu replied coldly, In the palace, I sent people to find and kill you. I heard you were stabbed to death by bandits, and you have no idea how much I regretted that. The young man's anger erupted as he shouted, Die, die, you bastard, you damn slave trader, turning people into eunuchs, unable to be real men for their entire lives. You damn bastard, die. And then, the inevitable happened. Wang San's body collapsed to the ground. Li Taishu stood panting, looking at the corpse of his sworn enemy. Not stopping there, he spat on Wang San's face, whose eyes were wide open on the ground. Li Taishu lamented, For 50 long years, it took me 50 years to get to this day. Because I was a eunuch, a palace attendant, an imperial servant, even with power. And I couldn't enjoy my wealth. But I'm different now. Whether this is reincarnation or regression no longer matters. From now on, I will live for pleasure. My life is only just beginning. The scene changes. A few months have passed since he dealt with the slave trader, Wang San. The season has turned to winter. On a frozen mountain in Gansu, Li Taishu is currently climbing Mount Kandong. Despite the extreme cold, Li Taishu is determined to ascend the high mountain, a large pack on his back. The journey is arduous, but for his grand ideal, Taishu presses on. He feels on the verge of collapse, but what is this little bit of suffering compared to the carnal pleasures he has yearned for his entire life? Is there any philosophy in the world more profound than that of pleasure? He thinks, if it were only about carnal pleasure, I would have just thrown my money around in brothels long ago. But I am not interested in paying for fun or common pleasures. I cannot waste my precious chastity on such cheap thrills. I want to enjoy true love with peerless beauties, to exchange heartfelt letters, to share pleasures of both the body and the spirit, and to bring my partner to fulfillment. That is true love. As he thought of this, Li Taishu's face took on a dazed, blissed-out expression, like a true addict getting his fix. He continued his train of thought. This is the carnal pleasure I pursue, the supreme path of sensuality. To achieve this dream, I need fame and fortune. At the very least, I must become a world-renowned hero. I had originally prepared countless spiritual items and martial arts manuals in a tomb for my reincarnated self. But since I regressed instead of reincarnating, it's all gone to waste. Though it was a pity, it wasn't the worst-case scenario. Recalling his past life, Li Taishu thought to himself, as the former head of the imperial family's highest intelligence agencies, the East and West Chambers, I know every major event of the next 50 years like the back of my hand. By training in martial arts and using my knowledge of the future, it won't be difficult to stir up the martial world and become a famous hero. Thinking this, he let out a loud cackle, a habit from his previous life. At that moment, Taishu caught himself. Ah, that old eunuch's laugh is coming back. I have to stop that. After what felt like an eternity of climbing, the young man's feet finally stopped. Before him stood an old, dilapidated mountain gate. Nevertheless, our hero was filled with enthusiasm. He thought, my grand quest to become harem king Li Taishu starts here, at the Kandong sect. His face brimming with optimism, he cupped his hands and shouted, Is anyone here? Inside the gate, a man sitting and drinking tea was startled by the shout. He jerked his head toward the entrance, wondering, that high-pitched voice. A child. He then thought in alarm. Could someone have actually climbed Mount Kandong in the middle of winter? After waiting for a while with no response, Taishu stood up straight, clenched his fists, and took a deep breath. Then, the young man opened his mouth and yelled with all his might. This humble one is Li Taishu. My parents were murdered by mountain bandits. I have climbed Mount Gandong hoping to one day become strong. Please, accept me as a disciple of the Kondong sect. A brief note, the Kondong sect is a martial arts school rooted in Taoism. It combines martial arts with Confucian, Buddhist, and Taoist principles, with a focus on practical combat. They do not shy away from danger and specialize in dealing with evil and heretical forces. To outsiders, their harsh methods can sometimes make them seem like a demonic or evil sect. When it comes to toughness, no one can match them. Back in the present, just as Taiju finished shouting, a figure shot out from within the gate with a powerful aura. The middle-aged man from before rushed out, moving with incredible speed. The man exclaimed, "In the middle of this freezing winter, a child dares to climb Mount Kondong alone. Aren't you afraid of death?" Hearing this, Li Taiju quickly cupped his hands and replied, "As long as I can join the Kondong sect, this humble one fears nothing. Please accept me as a disciple." The middle-aged man looked at the protagonist with a thoughtful expression, then let out a soft hem. He then said, "Give me your hand." The protagonist hurriedly rolled up his sleeve and replied, "Yes, sir." Next, the man proceeded to check Li Taiju's pulse and meridians. Sensing something, the man was surprised, and thought to himself, the true qi flowing in his body is expelling impurities. Has this boy been practicing the earth inhalation method? He then spoke aloud, "The earth inhalation method is a mine, or that strengthens the foundation of one's true qi and lays the groundwork for the dantian. Using it while climbing the mountain. It seems you have the aptitude and have grasped the basics of martial arts. Did your parents teach you?" Li Taiju smiled gently and replied, "Yes, that's right." But inwardly, Taiju thought, "Actually, I practiced it because I heard that long-term practice strengthens the kidneys and enhances virility." The middle-aged man was a little surprised and said, "Good. I am Zhao Yang, the sect master of the Kondong sect. Normally, one must pass a test to join, but seeing as your aptitude is not bad, I will make an exception." Zhao Yang then turned, walked away, and ordered, "Follow me inside." Hearing this, Li Taichu was overjoyed, his face beaming. The young man grinned slyly and thought, just as planned. Given the current state of the Kondong sect, they have no reason to refuse a new disciple. Then, for some reason, the young man clenched his butt cheeks and thought, "But I can't be complacent. I must practice my butt lynching and TC muscle exercises at all times to cultivate my primordial qi." Following behind sect master Zhao Yang, Taiju surveyed the Kondong sect. It was in a state of utter ruin, which made the young man a bit disappointed. He thought, "The situation is more serious than I imagined. There isn't a single decent place." I knew the Kondong sect, one of the 9 great sects, suffered heavy losses in the war 50 years ago, but seeing the extent of the devastation with my own eyes is something else. Suddenly, Zhao Yang turned back and said to Li Taiju, "Before I officially teach you the rules of the sect, I want to introduce you to someone. Your grand senior brother, who is also a disciple of this sect." Taiju was startled and quickly replied, "Yes, sir." Afterward, the young man grinned triumphantly thinking, the more chaotic it is, the more advantageous it is for me. It will be easier to recruit the sword saint, Yujin Hui, before he becomes famous. Standing in front of a house, Zhao Ying called out, "Hui, this is Li Taiju, your new junior brother." Suddenly, the surrounding air began to stir. Wind started to swirl violently around Zhao Ying and Li Taiju. The wind was so strong that the protagonist staggered behind Zhao Ying and exclaimed, a blizzard." That was Yujin Hui, Taiju's new senior brother. After hearing Zhao Ying's introduction, he had instantly appeared in front of him. Seeing Yujin Hui appear, Li Taiju was shocked and thought, this guy. Yujin Hui, with his kind and sparkling face, looked at Taiju and said, "A pleasure to meet you, junior brother. I am Yujin Hui." Seeing this, the protagonist was inwardly stunned, exclaiming, "So handsome, my God. In my past life I only saw his portraits, which were quite ordinary, and he always wore a straw hat. I thought the rumors about the women of the martial world fighting over Yujin Hui were just an exaggeration." Thinking of this, the protagonist became alarmed and thought, if that's the case, then my future. Noticing the protagonist's expression, Yujin Hui came closer in surprise and asked, "Junior brother, you don't look very well. Are you sick?" Hearing this, Li Taiju was startled back to his senses and replied, "No." Yujin Hui shook the main character's hand and said with a bright smile, "That's great, then. Don't be a stranger. We're brothers from now on, after all." However, Li Qiuju's heart was filled with petty jealousy. Seeing that he wasn't as handsome as the other, he silently prayed, "Damn it. It can't be. Please, God, let him be only 3 long. Please, God, Yu Jin voice spoke up. Well then, shall we go? Li Qiudu asked in surprise. Go. Go where? With a look of pure, innocent excitement, Yu Jinhui replied. I want to take you on a tour of a few places. Hearing this, Qiudu's face went blank as he numbly replied. Yes. No sooner had the word left his mouth than the main character was being dragged along by Yu Jinhui like a kite in the wind. Feeling his wrist grip tightly and being pulled along, the main character thought angrily, Stop, I don't want to touch another man. Qiu quickly snatched his hand back and shouted, Let go of me, senior brother. This action made Yu Jinhui fall silent and stare at Li Qiudu. He saw that Qiu was now glaring at him with some anger. Flustered, Yu Jinhui scratched his head and replied shillily, I'm sorry, junior brother. I must have scared you. It's my first time having a junior brother, so I got a bit overexcited. The main character quickly bowed and said, it's alright, senior brother. It was me who overreacted. I apologize. Inwardly, Qiudu thought, calm down. Li Qiudu. Leaving the Kantong sect now is not an option. Thinking about the future, I must maintain a good relationship with Yu Jinhui. With this in mind, the main character quickly clasped his hands in a formal gesture and said, I apologize for my rudeness. This action also greatly surprised Yu Jinhui. Outside, the snow continued to fall, growing thicker. Looking at the scene outside, the sect leader of Kantong, Zhou Yun, mused, although the wind is still strong, winter on Kantong Mountain is about to pass. I hope Qiu and Jin will quickly become close. 5 years ago, I found Jin Wei. He too was an orphan at that time. It was around this time of year. After discovering Jin Wei's talent, I dedicated myself to nurturing him. He is the only hope for reviving the Kantong sect. In the future Jin Wei will step into the martial world and interact with many men. Therefore, by interacting with Qiudu, a boy of the same age, he needs to learn how to be careful so as not to reveal his female identity. After a long day, the main character returned to his room to rest. The young man lay sprawled out, relaxing and letting out a long sigh. Li Qiudu's first day joining the Kantong sect. A memorable day. And yet, it's been 4 hours, and I'm still tossing and turning, unable to sleep. It's been 4 hours, and I still can't sleep. It's all because of that kid, Yu Jinhui. The scene shifts back to half a day earlier. After a tour of the sect mountain guided by Yu Jinhui, the two bid each other farewell to rest. The main character bowed respectfully. I will be in your care from now on, senior brother. Yu Jinhui also bowed and replied, Me too. Then Yu Jinhui clasped his hands together, his face shimmering with the lovely charm of a young maiden. He looked at the main character and continued, I'm sorry for startling you several times. Although this place is desolate and ruined, not like it used to be, I still wanted to show you around. Despite the brutal massacre 50 years ago, the Hyanshan Palace, where the sect leader resides, and the Qianmen Pavilion, where the disciples live, still stand. The Kantong sect has not yet fallen. I want you to understand that. Seeing Yu Jinhui's expectant expression, Li Qiudu also sighed internally, his mind recalling information from 50 years ago. The Great War between the righteous and demonic sects began with the fall of the Kantong sect. At that time, no one had expected the demonic cult to bypass the Kunlun sect, and instead attack the Kantong sect, the most powerful of its time. I understand the intention behind Yu Jinhui wanting to tell me the history of this place. Thinking this, the main character let out a long sigh, then waved his hand and replied, I understand. But don't suddenly get so close to me like that again. I'm a bit shy around people. Hearing this, Yu Jinhui's face fell with a hint of sadness. He looked down and stammered, Oh okay. Seeing Yu Jinhui's awkward demeanor, Li Qiudu thought to himself, is he that troubled by it? I probably shouldn't have been so harsh with him. And so, the main character took a step forward and said, Everyone makes mistakes sometimes, senior brother. Don't be sad. If it's the history of the Kantong sect as told by you, I'd love to hear it. Li Qiudu's words made Yu Jinhui light up with joy. She at the moment, looked at the main character with a beaming face. Seeing this, Li Qiudu thought, but overall, this is manageable. Soothing a child of the same age just requires saying what they want to hear. There's just one thing I'd overlook. Recalling the feeling of Yu Jinhui frequently putting an arm around his shoulders, Li Qiudu was quite surprised, thinking, I didn't expect Yu Jinhui to suddenly put his arm around my shoulder. Suddenly remembering that the main character had just scolded him, Yu Jinhui flinched and turned to apologize. My hand slipped. I'm sorry. Junior brother, the main character was furious but couldn't show it, screaming internally, I only want to be embraced by peerless beauties. Back in the present, after thinking back on the afternoon's events, Lee Shield, he threw off his blanket and sat up, his face flushed with anger as he yelled, my 50 years of virtue were almost for nothing. His mind raced. Who is Yu Jin Wei? A rare prodigy of the quantum sect, a genius among geniuses. Even when the women of the martial world fought over him, creating chaos, he remained unwavering, solely focused on rebuilding the quantum sect. Thinking this, the main character lamented, he's talented, has a good character, and is handsome, yet he has no need for women. Isn't that unbelievable? The world rumors that he values martial arts over female company, but after interacting with him, he understand now. Yu Jin Wei is definitely a sleeve cutter. Translator's note, the term used here under sleeve cutter is a classical allusion to homosexuality. The main character recalled his time as a eunuch. I once saw those who, despite having their male roots severed, still had a back door and found a new path to satisfy their desires. At the time, he had even thought with a jolt, why do I have to witness this? Thinking of this, Li Qiu's indignation grew. But I am not a sleeve cutter, he thought, looking down at his intact songbird. The young man cursed inwardly, I have worked so hard to preserve it until now. I'm dying to use it, damn it. Noticing his songbird was drooping, he panicked. Why is my little brother so droopy today? Clenching my buttocks isn't enough, perhaps it's time to start the exercise that is said to increase the size of one's little brother. With a look of sheer determination, the young man's left hand got into a ready position as he declared, Yu Jin Wei, I am sorry, but I will become the #1 god of Lekiri. I have no back door for you. And with that, the main character reached down to grab his songbird. Afterward, strange sounds echoed from Li Qiu's room. That same night, in Yu Jin Wei's room, she was sitting and smiling as she removed the binder from her chest, sighing, so hard to breathe. How could I be like this? On the first day, I was discourteous to my junior brother twice. I was just so overjoyed to have a new family member that I got overly excited. I should be setting an example for him. Recalling the scene from the afternoon when Li Qiu told her if it's the history of the quantum sect as told by you, I'd love to hear it. She gently put on her robe. Yu Jin Wei thought to herself, even though he was startled and uncomfortable, my junior brother still cared about my feelings and tried to say nice things. I want to get closer to Qiu. Is this what it feels like to have a brother? Next time, I want to become close enough that I can comfortably put my arm around my junior brother's shoulder. The scene shifts to the next morning. The sun was peeking over the mountain range. By now, the main character had already gone to the kitchen, cleaned it up, and was preparing to cook. Looking around the kitchen, Qiu sighed down. Just as I expected. Utterly destitute. This kitchen looks like it's about to collapse. For someone of my status, this is demeaning. But to become a world-renowned hero, and obtain 3 wives and 4 concubines, I must win over the sect leader and my senior brother. In that case, I will wash every single grain of rice and every stalk of vegetable with utmost dedication. Next, the young man struck a strange pose while washing rice and declared, today, we also greet the master of obstetrics, Professor Li Qiu. Suddenly, Yu Jin Wei pushed the door open from outside. Seeing the main character in such a state, he asked in surprise, Junior brother, what are you doing in the kitchen? Li Qiu spun around, startled, his face falling as he answered awkwardly, Senior brother, do you have a cough? Yu Jin Wei slowly stepped inside and said, surely you're not making breakfast all by yourself. I was a little worried, so I came to check. Sweating, the main character replied sheepishly, yes, sir. This is a job for a junior brother, after all. Hearing this, Yu Jin Wei's eyes crinkled into a smile of approval. I've never seen anyone as quick and capable as you. You're such a good boy, aren't you? Li Qiu felt a chill run down his spine. Yes, sir, he replied, thinking, whoa, he's still so handsome even in this situation. Drop dead gorgeous. If I had even half his looks, my life wouldn't have been this hard. The young man scratched his head in embarrassment and said, because I was orphaned at a young age, I've been through many hardships. So that's why I had to mature so quickly. I apologize. If it makes you uncomfortable, senior brother, I can just handle things myself. Hearing this, Yu Jin Wei quickly waved his hands and replied, no, I didn't mean to blame you, I'm an orphan too, just like you. I just felt a sense of kinship. What I mean is, I admire your maturity. Seeing Yu Jin Wei's demeanor, Li Qiu felt a bit annoyed. Why has he been apologizing non-stop since yesterday? He thought. Does he want the whole world to know he's a pushover? Yujin Wei gently stepped into the kitchen and continued, let me help you. I'm also very good at picking vegetables. I should have been the one doing this. For a senior brother to let his junior brother toil away. It's just not right, is it? Li Qiu was surprised. This guy seems to really care for his junior brother, he thought. That's right. The sword saint, Yujin Wei, was originally supposed to have a junior sister, not a junior brother. Beauty hailed as the first flower of the righteous path. But that junior sister is a matter for the future. For now, I am the only friend he has his age. Thinking about it, playing along with him for a bit should be fine. The main character rolled up his sleeves and turned to say, senior brother, if you want to help, then wait for me. I'll go get fresh water to wash the vegetables. Yujin Wei gently replied, all right. As he scooped the water with a ladle, Li Qiu thought, I have no desire to get close to Yujin Wei. I just want to use his reputation. In the future, I'll use my connection as his junior brother to seduce all the women, making them fall for my charm. Suddenly, the wooden shelf above them cracked, and a large pot began to fall. Reacting quickly, Yujin Wei immediately noticed and looked over. Seeing the main character frozen in place, Yujin Wei shouted, junior brother, danger, terrified. Li Qiu covered his face with his hands. Suddenly, a slender hand supported his back. Yujin Wei's voice came, are you alright? Damn, a pose like this for saving someone. Ugh. Doesn't it seem a bit backward? Look at these two, it's like they've been struck by Cupid's arrow. Ah ha ha. A very romantic scene unfolded. This left the main character stunned. Such a beautiful future. How did it end up like this? He thought. But still, as long as I protect my little brother I'll be fine, right? Yujin Wei looked at Li Qiu tenderly, and asked softly, you're lighter than I thought. Li Qiu caught a faint, fragrant scent like wild flowers. Suddenly, he snapped out of his daze. He saw Yujin Wei holding his wrist with one hand while the other was supporting his back, just like in a dance. The young man shrieked, senior brother, where are you touching me? Yujin Wei quickly replied, I'm sorry, junior brother, I didn't mean to do anything to you, don't misunderstand. The main character flared up, shouting, what's there to misunderstand? And stop blushing. You're just making it weirder. Sweating and flustered, Yujin Wei said, I'll take care of dinner, you should go rest, you must have been startled. Stu was furious. Is he trying to assassinate me? How could a senior brother behave like this? If Master saw this, he would definitely be angry for breaking the sex rules. Seeing Li Qiu's anger, Yujin Wei was very flustered. The main character bent down, picked up the basket from the floor, and said, senior brother, from now on, you don't need to do these chores anymore. From now on, leave these tasks to me, your junior brother. Yujin Wei scratched his head in embarrassment, and replied, I understand. His gaze wavered slightly. The young girl bent down to pick up a bowl from the floor and said, but can I still help you? The main character's expression was not pleased, but he relented. That would be fine. The scene shifts to 2 months later, at the Kongtung Sex Martial Arts Training Ground. Zhou Young stood with his hands clasped behind his back and spoke. What do you think constitutes superior martial arts? Some believe internal energy is paramount, so they seek all means to concoct spiritual elixirs. Others believe that martial techniques are true power, so they train their fists and feet day and night. The true strength lies in the harmonious balance between internal and external energy. Only then can martial arts unleash their full potential. Therefore, never be lazy in your training. Do you understand? At that moment, the main character was training in a horse stance. Hearing his master's lesson, he replied loudly, yes, master. Zhou Yun turned to leave and instructed, good. I'm going to check on your senior brother. He continued to train diligently. Li Qiu's body was trembling from exhaustion as he replied, yes. But inwardly, the main character was smug. Even if master didn't tell me to, I had no intention of being lazy. Good physical strength means abundant vitality. What's the use of being as thin as a stick if only a dead place is big? For the sake of carnal pleasure, I am willing to endure this hardship. Sweat dripped from Qiu's body onto the ground. At that moment, he was a bit surprised, thinking, what's with today? The horse stance feels so comfortable. Is this the result of 2 months of hard training? This feeling is like a gem addict getting satisfaction from lifting weights. Back when I was a eunuch, no matter how much I trained in external arts, I could never escape a feminine appearance. It was all because of that damned internal art, the Sunflower Manual. If it hadn't been for that Quaxi reversal elixir, I wouldn't have tortured my subordinates or ravaged the environment collecting spiritual herbs all over the central plains. The more he thought, the angrier he got. Just you wait, past life. In this life, I will live the life of a true man. Suddenly, Eugene Wei descended from the air, calling out, "Zhou Junior brother." The main character turned in surprise and asked, "Senior brother, why are you here?" Eugene Wei smiled and replied, "Master told me to come get you. Training is over for today." Li Qiu exclaimed in surprise, "Oh, is it that time already?" Inwardly, Li Qiu thought, "It's not enough. I want to build a strong body as quickly as possible, but time is passing too fast." Seeing the main character lost in thought, Eugene Wei found it strange. The scene shifts to late that night on Compton Mountain. The main character mysteriously appears in a secluded spot. The young man looked up at the sky and thought with delight, "If it's not an owl, I can just train secretly. To enjoy a forest of wine and meat without getting tired, I must increase my physical stamina." Xiaolu stretched his body to warm up, thinking, "The only thing is, I'm a bit worried about Master. He's afraid that I'm still too young, and that overtraining will injure me, so he has arranged a very light training schedule. If he knew I was training secretly, he would put a stop to it immediately. But I can't skip practicing the night walking footwork. Normal training alone will never be enough to become the god of lechery. Well then, let's get to it with gusto today." Thinking this, the young man began to practice. Suddenly, from behind a nearby tree, a figure was secretly watching. It was none other than Eugene Wei. Only then did the main character sense him. His face went blank as he turned to look. Being distracted, the young man's foot tripped over root, and he went tumbling several times on the ground. Qiu staggered to his feet and looked over, asking, "Senior brother, why are you here?" Eugene Wei walked forward, his face slightly displeased. "I suspected you were sneaking out of the Jiangmen pavilion at night, so I came to check. As I thought, you were secretly training. Master has warned that overtraining is harmful to the body. I can't just stand by and watch my junior brother bring suffering upon himself." Li Qiu was furious. Damn it, why did he have to catch me at this exact moment? He thought. If I had even a year's worth of internal energy, I would have detected him with my key sense. If he tells Master, I won't be able to practice the night walking footwork. My stamina will decrease, and the blood flow to my little brother will also weaken. In short, this is a critical situation that directly affects my vitality. Thinking this, Li Qiu stood up and tried to find an excuse. "This unworthy junior brother has made you worry. I am truly sorry. But I have my reasons for training in secret." Hearing this, Eugene Wei was very surprised. The main character continued, "Senior brother, you and I are different. Unlike you, who can learn 10 things after being taught 1, I am a slow learner who forgets things easily. I don't want to be left behind. I don't want to be kicked out of here and end up wandering the streets again." With tears welling in his eyes, the main character continued, "I don't want to be unable to compare to even a corner of your robe, unable to even touch the tip of your toe. Hey heck." At this point, Li Qiu smirked inwardly. "Have you ever heard of crocodile tears? Eugene Wei, with your righteous personality, after hearing me say this, would you have the heart to go and tell on me to Master?" As expected, Eugene Wei's face was filled with contemplation and sadness. Seeing Eugene Wei walking towards him, the main character started crying even louder, thinking, "He's coming closer. I have to squeeze out more tears." Just as he thought, Eugene Wei came closer and pulled Li Qiu into a tight embrace. Eugene Wei himself shed a tear, moved as he said, "I didn't know you were suffering so much. I'm sorry, junior brother. I didn't know." Meanwhile, the main character's expression was one of pure agony. Eugene Wei hugged him even tighter and comforted him, "It's all right. Don't cry anymore." Being held so tightly, Li Qiu thought in frustration, let go of me, you lunatic. Are your arms made of iron?" "No, my precious first hug. I had decided to give my first hug to the peerless beauty I would fall in love with." Trapped in this situation, the main character felt helpless. Damn it. And just like that, my 50 years of chastity were stolen by my senior brother. However, Eugene Wei's chest felt softly chill. Eugene Wei began to recount his childhood. There was a mother bird and 2 baby birds lying dead on the ground. At that time, everyone around me cursed at me, calling me a monster. "You're a monster." Then, someone came up to me, comforted me, gave me food, and said, "Don't pay attention to those rumors. You are also a human being, living under the same sky. If you have shortcomings, you can just learn." That was Zhou Yum. He had given Yu Jin way 2 white rice balls. Then he turned and said, "Follow me." Back in the present, Yu Jin Wei said, "She'll you. Master is not the kind of person who would kick you out just because your martial arts are poor. Once you join the contempt sect, no matter who you are family. You are my junior brother, forever. So if you have any difficulties, just lean on me like you are now. I will always be by your side to help you. How about it? Do you feel better now?" Suddenly, the main character was moved. For the first time since joining the contempt sect, "I feel pity for my senior brother, Yu Jin. Why?" he thought. "You have a natural talent for martial arts, able to integrate any style and imitate it after seeing it just once. And yet, you suffer from gynecomastia." Team eyes braced. "I know it all too well. I suffered from the same thing in my past life. It took a complete bodily rebirth to get rid of it. Of course, if you were a woman, they could be considered breasts. But based on the 99 accuracy of my eunuch expertise, I've concluded that Yu Jin Wei is a man. So there's no possibility he's a woman." The scene shifts to the next morning. Sect leader Zhou Young announced, "From today on, you will stop your external energy training. You have worked hard. Your foundation is now solid enough. Reduce your external training, and begin your introduction to internal energy." Yu Jin Wei turned to him with a celebratory smile and said, "Congratulations, junior brother." However, the main character's face was just a mask of dumbfounded shock. The young man pondered, "What's going on? I should be happy about starting internal energy training, but Yu Jin Wei is getting on my nerves." Even during breakfast, he was bustling around, insisting on helping. Noticing Li Qiudu's preoccupation, Zhou Young asked him, "You don't look well." Startled, the main character quickly replied, "No, sir." He then bowed his head and sighed. "Forget it. Don't think about it anymore. There are more important things now than Yu Jin Wei." The young man then spoke up, "Thank you, master. But I do not wish to reduce my external energy training." This statement took Zhou Young by complete surprise, and he looked a bit confused. Li Qiudu thought to himself, "Master's words are not wrong. Most people, after beginning internal energy training, only do enough external training to maintain their condition, dedicating the rest of their time to internal energy, sword techniques, and footwork. But I can't do that. External training is the way to achieve a perfect physique. Only that can attract women. With an ordinary face. Even if I show it off all day, I can't compare to Yu Jin Wei." Zhou Young asked, "You don't want to reduce your external training?" "I'd like to hear more." Li Qiudu replied, "Unlike senior brother, who is exceptionally talented, I am just a dullard. In order to assist senior brother and contribute to rebuilding our sect, I must work harder than others, master." The main character thought, although the efficiency is low, continuing external training after starting internal training is not useless. With the same sword strike, having even a slight edge in strength over an opponent can make a difference. It's that small difference that gives value to the sweat I've shed. And eventually, it will blossom into a forest of wine and meat, determining the class of carnal pleasure. With a firm and earnest gaze, the main character pleaded in his mind, "Please, master, allow me. I have given it my all." Zhou Young's eyes showed surprise. Is that truly the gaze of a child? He thought. Because I can't be like others, I must strive in a different way. As Chiel, Hu already recognized that he is merely ordinary. The contempt sect was once a great and famous sect, with secrets to cultivating outstanding talents, but now all of that is turned to dust. Therefore, although Qiudu's words don't align with the common standards of the martial world, they are the right answer for the task of rebuilding the declining contempt sect. Zhou Young handed Qiudu a piece of paper and said, "Take this. This is the incantation for the initial Yang Heart method, a fundamental internal energy art." The main character took it and replied, "Thank you, master," while thinking in surprise, "Does this mean I'm not allowed? If so, it will be difficult for me to continue my training. The martial world is ruthless to the untalented." Suddenly, sect leader Zhou Young spoke again. "But for those who dare to face challenges, all paths are open. I permit you to continue your external training. Furthermore, from now on, I will transmit the initial Yang Heart method to you. Memorize the internal energy incantation I have written." Li Qiudu was overjoyed. "Yes, sir," he replied. Zhou Young then told Li Qiudu to take off his shirt and sit on the ground. "I will begin transmitting the internal energy. Are you ready?" The main character sat down, closed his eyes, and gently replied, "Yes." Standing to one side, Yu Jin Wei silently prayed for everything to go smoothly. Zhou Young placed a hand on Qiudu's back and continued, "I will channel my internal energy into your body, guiding your Kai according to the incantation. Memorize the path of its circulation. As the flow of energy began, Li Qiu winced, feeling it. A warm energy is spreading around my chest, he thought. This is a sensation I never experienced in my past life. Not the bone-killing cold of the sunflower manual, but a warmth that spreads throughout my body. It feels like sunlight flowing through my veins. This feeling. This is yang energy. A while later, Zhou Yang sat beside the main character and said, "Congratulations on beginning your internal energy training, Qiu, you." The main character placed a hand on his chest and thought joyfully, "I am no longer a eunuch. I have now been reborn as a true martial arts expert." Seeing Li Qiu do so happy, Yu Dian Wei, who was standing outside, was also very happy. The scene shifts to that evening. Zhou Yang and Yu Jin Wei sat drinking tea together. Zhou Yang asked, "What did you say?" Jin Wei, "You also want to do additional external training?" Holding the teacup, Yu Jin Wei replied pensively, "Yes. As his senior brother, I want to guide my junior brother." Zhou Yang felt a bit of pleased admiration. "It seems you've learned how to care for others. Do as you wish. For you, everything is a lesson." Looking out the window, Zhou Yang was lost in thought. Qiu, Xu and Jin Wei, though young, are wholeheartedly dedicated to the cause of rebuilding the Kongtung sect, and to their martial arts. I can finally fulfill my master's dying wish. At the same time, on a nearby mountain, several slain deer lay still on the ground. In a rocky cave, a massive mutated snake with glowing red eyes resided. The next morning, at a farmer's house at the foot of the mountain, a family went out to their goat pen and was horrified to find it destroyed. The old man exclaimed, "Heavens, what happened? Who dared to smash our pen to pieces like this? The whole flock of goats is gone too. I was planning to sell them at the market today." Overwhelmed, the old man fainted, causing his daughter-in-law and grandson to worry. Back in his room, the old man groaned, "I was going to sell the goats to get money to donate to the Kongtung sect. But how could this happen? Even though my family is poor, I still wanted to help the Kongtung sect. My lifelong dream is now shattered." The young boy angrily exclaimed, still talking about donating, "What's so great about that Kongtung sect that you have to do this much? It's in a pathetic state now." With that, the boy ran outside. Seeing this, the daughter-in-law angrily scolded, "This boy is so rude." The old man, in a weak voice, reminded her, "Come now, my daughter. He's only upset because he sees me so ill. In his eyes I must seem very pitiful, because he doesn't know how glorious the Kongtung sect once was. The Kongtung sect of the past was truly magnificent. As the number one sect in Gansu, it planted dreams and hope in the heart of an ordinary child like me. Perhaps the boy is right. But after the demonic cult's attack, the ultimate techniques of Kongtung have long been lost. The glorious Kongtung sect of those days will probably never return." The scene shifts to the Kongtung sect, where Li Qiu, he was currently focused on his martial arts training. He thought happily, "Good. I can feel the young energy condensing in my dantian. But why is there a strange sensation when I circulate the initial young heart method? I'm not sure. Could it be because I practiced the sunflower manual, a yin gold art, in my past life? When I heard Master talk about the Kongtung sect's martial arts, I didn't notice anything unusual. The symbol of our sect is the yin-yang taiji diagram. It represents the transformation of yin and yang. The teaching of our founder is that the transformation of yin and yang means water flows upward and fire burns downward. In other words, it is the reversal of yin and yang to create the ultimate life force. Therefore, only the ignorant would see our sect's martial arts as demonic and heretical and look down on them. But we are not like the demonic cult, who exploit martial arts. We only wish to eradicate them. Remember this difference. Do not let idle gossip mislead you." The main character told himself, in any case, joining the Kongtung sect was the right decision. A true man's martial art. Fighting fire with fire. This very ferocity is the ultimate technique most suitable for the path of seduction. Suddenly, there was a noise outside. The main character turned to look, wondering, what was that sound? Outside the dilapidated gate, the boy named Dan was banging on the door, shouting, "Please, Kongtung sect, please save my grandfather. If you are the number one sect in Gansu who helps the righteous, then please help my grandfather. He has supported you his whole life. Please, just this once." Inside the Kongtung sect, Yu Jin Wei opened the door and stepped out, asking the main character, "Junior brother, did you hear that?" He replied in surprise, "Yes, it sounds like someone is asking for help." And just when Master is away, Yu Jin Wei turned with a worried expression and said, "I don't know what's going on, but we should probably go and see." The scene shifts to a short while later. Yu Jin Wait and Li Qiu were outside the gate. After hearing the boy's story, we said, so you want us to find the culprit who destroyed the pen and stole the livestock? The boy, Anani, quickly replied. Yes, Li Qiu asked curiously, that's strange. Normally, if you're robbed, you should report it to the authorities. The boy replied sorrowfully, the thing is, it wasn't like a human did it. Even a thief wouldn't destroy the entire livestock pen. It's illogical. My grandfather has always admired the Komtum sect, so he raised goats to donate to the sect in its time of need. The broken pen was only discovered when my grandfather went to check on the goats before taking them to be sold. I know this is sudden, and we don't have money for a reward. But please, for the sake of my grandfather who has supported the Komtum sect his whole life, help him get better. Can you? Hearing this, Li Qiu became pensive. The main character turned and said to wait, it's commendable that this boy came all this way. How about we go take a look? The scene shifts to the goat pen at the foot of the mountain, near Annie's home. The boy pointed towards the pen and said, this is our family's livestock pen. Looking around the pen, the main character thought, the goat pen is on the mountain side connected to Konton Mountain. It must be frequently attacked by wild beasts. Suddenly, the main character noticed something unusual. Looking at the tracks on the ground, Li Qiu mused, this is identical to the trail of a slithering snake. With this size, it must be at least a demonic beast. Could a giant snake have come down from the mountain to hunt? Li Qiu turned and asked wait, senior brother, are there any legends or rumors about a giant snake on Komtum Mountain? Wei turned and replied, no, I've never heard of one. If there were a dangerous demonic beast on Komtum Mountain, Master would have eliminated it long ago. Using his past life's experience, the main character deduced, Komtum Mountain is also a sacred mountain of Taoism. Under the influence of its spiritual energy, even small creatures can mutate. For such a large demonic beast, there should have been legends or rumors. If senior brother has never heard of it, it must have appeared recently. Moreover, if it can eat such a large snake, it will surely be a great supplement for my primordial yang energy. Having thought it through, Li Qiu said, leave this matter to us. Wei asked in surprise, will it be alright if we don't report this to Master? Li Qiu smiled and replied, it wouldn't be good to make a big fuss over nothing. Furthermore, refusing the plea of a commoner isn't the righteous way. Ignoring such a filial child. Wouldn't that just make people misunderstand us, thinking we can't distinguish between right and wrong? Seeing the logic in his words, Wei replied, alright, I agree. The boy Annie said with a grateful expression, if it really is a demonic beast, we must destroy it before it causes greater disaster. Li Qiu said, the goat pen is completely destroyed, so there are sure to be clues. You take the boy back. I'll stay here to clean up and search the surroundings. We picked up the boy and replied, okay, I'll take him back now. The scene shifts to the nearby mountain. The main character exclaimed with joy, I found it, senior brother. On the ground was a long trail left by the great snake. Seeing it, the main character reasoned, it seems the demonic beast dragged the livestock this way. And so, the two young men immediately gave chase, dashing through the trees, following the snake's trail. We turned and asked Li Qiu again, your brother, are you sure we don't need to inform Master? Li Qiu smiled and replied, this is a matter of helping the common people, while thinking to himself, humph. What a stuffy, orthodox prig. Perched on a tree branch, and observing the surroundings, the main character said, for now, we should focus on finding the trail. If we're not careful and lose the track, we'll get lost too. Suddenly, Li Qiu was shocked to discover something, the trail had abruptly vanished. Suddenly from the other side, Wei shouted, junior brother, danger. Startled, Li Qiu looked up. At the top of the tree, a giant snake had its mouth wide open, preparing to strike. It lunged down, biting right into the middle of Li Qiu's body. Seeing this, Wei's face turned pale as he cried out, junior brother. The snake, with Qiu in its jaws, fell to the ground. In that perilous moment, memories of Qiu's past life flashed before his eyes. The sword saint, Wei, before becoming famous throughout the land, had accidentally gotten lost on Komtum Mountain and found the legendary Guangzhou Danhill. In the treasury left by his ancestors, he rediscovered a portion of the Komtum sect's lost martial arts manuals and found spiritual herbs for cultivation. For a small spirit beast to transform into a demonic beast, it needs to absorb a huge amount of spiritual energy. If there's a place with the strongest spiritual energy on Komtum Mountain, it must be there. What if the snake accidentally fell into the Guangzhou Danhill, absorbed the spiritual energy, and mutated? Li Qiudu had managed to grab and block the snake's fang. The young man thought smugly, if I can survive this ordeal, not only will I get a great boost to my primordial yang, but I can also find the lost martial arts manuals of the Kuntum sect, just like in my previous life. From behind the snake's tail, a panicked Yu Jinhui ran forward, exclaiming, "Junior brother." Seeing the main character still struggling, holding onto the fangs and prying the snake's mouth open, Yu Jinhui thought worriedly, junior brother has been poisoned but is still holding on. If I delay, his life will be in danger. I must cut it now. Thinking this, Yu Jinhui drew his sword and slashed powerfully at the snake's body. However, the result was not as expected. Yu Jinhui's face turned ashen because the snake's scales were too hard. The sword couldn't harm it. Suddenly Yu Jinhui felt a tremor from not far away. It turned out the snake had whipped its tail, sending Yu Jinhui flying into the distance. Li Qiuju turned and saw this, anxiously thinking, what are you standing there gawking for? Even in an unexpected situation, Yu Jinhui didn't panic. Next, the main character reached out and grabbed a dry branch nearby, then drew his arm back, preparing to stab the snake's eye. He exclaimed in his mind, still so green, stabbed unexpectedly in the eye, the snake's eye spurted blood. It thrashed in pain, and because of this, Li Qiuju escaped the snake's grip and retreated. Bitten on the shoulder, Qiuju's wound was still throbbing with pain. Yu Jinhui quickly jumped over her, asking worriedly, junior brother, are you alright? Li Qiuju calmly replied, yes. Now we need to concentrate. It's taken the bait. The main character turned and said, a moment ago, you saw that its body is tough, and a sword can hardly pierce it, right? Yu Jinhui gripped his sword tightly with both hands and replied cautiously, yes. Its scales are harder than I thought. I have to sever its head with a single blow, but its speed is too fast. I can't find an opening. What should we do now? The main character's veins had already started to turn purple from the venom. Qiuju thought, the current Yu Jinhui isn't strong enough yet, so it's difficult for him to fight a demonic beast. Thanks to my cultivation from my previous life, I can hold on for a while even after being poisoned. But if the inexperienced Yu Jinhui also gets poisoned, we're done for. I have to create an opening for him. Saying this, Li Qiuju untied the sash around his waist and said, senior brother, I will give the signal. At that moment, you must channel all your strength into the initial Yang Heart method to enhance the power of your sword strike. Hearing this, Yu Jinhui was alarmed. What? In your condition, what are you planning to do? No time. Li Qiuju immediately rushed towards the snake and said, this is no time for hesitation. The snake, blind in one eye, saw its prey rushing towards it, and opened its mouth to meet the challenge. Ripping the sash with both hands, the main character shouted, so what if you're a demonic beast? Then Qiuju leaped over the snake's head and yelled, its right side is wide open. After that, the main character's sash wrapped around the snake's neck. Grabbing both ends of the sash, Qiuju powerfully jumped down, pulling the snake's head down with him, shouting, now, senior brother. Immediately, Yu Jinhui's figure moved like lightning, sword in hand, rushing forward. On his side, the main character was also shouting, using all his remaining strength to control the snake. Yu Jinhui also used all his strength, and with one strike, severed the snake's head. The snake's head flew into the air, while its body fell to the ground. As the snake's body fell, Yu Jinhui landed, panting, and said with quiet joy, got it. As expected, the weak point is the neck. Recalling the situation, Yu Jinhui wondered, could it be that junior brother knew beforehand and intentionally lured it so I could strike its neck? Suddenly, Yu Jinhui looked ahead in alarm. Li Qiuju was lying motionless on the ground. Worry. Jinhui ran to him and called out, junior brother, lost in a delirious state. Li Qiuju was still conscious enough to think, so hot. They say the venom of a fire snake has a strong yang energy. It seems the rumors of the medicine masters were not wrong. But I like it even more. With my divine ability to control K, I can eliminate the toxins and only absorb the yang energy. Yu Jinhui, you don't need to worry. I will recover soon. Yu Jinhui held Qiuju, his face purple, and looked very worried. He frantically called out, junior brother, wake up. Junior brother, what should I do? Junior brother. This. For me. But to create an opening, he pushed himself even though he was poisoned. I have to save him. I must save him. Yu Jinhui laid Li Qiuju down on the ground. Because he didn't want to lose his junior brother, Jinhui used his mouth to suck the poison from the main character's neck. Suddenly, Li Qiuju woke up with a start, his eyes wide open. Seeing Jinhui kissing his neck, a ticklish sensation arose. The young man thrashed about, screaming, ah, 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 ah. Yujin Wei spat out a mouthful of poisoned blood and thought in surprise, the poison has already reached his tongue. Turning, he saw Yu foaming at the mouth, his eyes rolling back. Yujin Wei misunderstood even more, thinking, he looks like he's in great pain, and must quickly suck out the poison. Then, Jin Wei's face flushed, and he said, it's okay. I'll be gentle. The scene shifts to that evening. A fire was lit in the middle of the forest. Li Qiu's face looked like a dry corpse as he poked at the fire. Yujin Wei took the main character's wrist and carefully checked his pulse, then sighed in relief. His heartbeat has stabilized. Thank goodness. But I've never thought of steaming a demonic beast like this. Li Qiu, who was opening a package of demonic beast meat, replied, it depends on the type, but steamed snake is very nutritious and enhances virality. Holding a piece of steamed snake meat, Yujin Wei said regretfully, if only Master could have eaten this too. Li Qiu thought in surprise, still thinking about Master at a time like this. Then the main character reminded him, after we finish eating, we'll continue to follow the fire snake's trail. If we backtrack, we'll surely find its lair. Late that night, the surroundings were extremely quiet. Standing before a rock crevice, Yujin Wei said, is this the last of the tracks? Above them was a mysterious stone cave. Shield replied, it leads to that cave. Yujin Wei said in surprise, I can feel a very strong spiritual energy. Hearing this, Li Qiu was also surprised and asked, really? In his heart, Qiu sighed in admiration. Your senses are truly good. In his past life, he also relied on this intuition to find this place. Entering the cave, Yujin Wei said to Qiu, I never knew Quantum Mountain had a place like this. Could this be the legendary Guangsong Dan Hill? Li Qiu replied pensively, perhaps. The main character thought, the Guangsong Dan Hill is the place where the founder of the Kongtung sect cultivated. It's also where, 300 years ago, the Huanwen Sword Emperor, Nuzhurjia, from the Kongtung sect, reached the divine realm. If this is the place, there must be many spiritual herbs to supplement my yang energy. No, my internal energy. Seeing a wooden box with some round pills spilled on the ground, Yujin Wei rushed over and called out, look, junior brother. There's a bottle of elixir pills spilled here. Li Qiu replied in surprise. It seems the fire snake ate the spiritual herb here, absorbed the spiritual energy, and transformed into a demonic beast. After walking a bit further, the two suddenly stopped. They were surprised to see a small house inside the cave. On a table were several old books. Yujin Wei picked one up to read and was surprised. It was the Sam Yimjin Yam, Shilset Jiam, Aonshin Jioheim, Unryushu, Bakma Dari Yaxu, Shinyun Shi Kanyam J. All were the lost martial arts of the Kongtung sect, left here. Yujin Wei exclaimed in astonishment, is this the place where the seniors of the past cultivated? Could this truly be the legendary Guangsong Dan Hill? Li Qiu came up from behind and asked, any findings? Yujin Wei turned back, beaming. I think I've found a portion of the Kongtung sect's lost martial arts. What a fortunate encounter this is. The main character was overjoyed. That's great. Then, he gestured towards another direction and continued, it seems there are more secret spaces in this cave. Let's go take a look. Yujin Wei happily replied, okay. I'll take a closer look too. And so, the two split up, each going in a different direction to search for treasures. The main character calmly tried to find his bearings, then ran quickly towards a small cave. He thought urgently, can't waste time. I must find the spiritual herbs before Yujin Wei does. Deep inside the cave, a ray of light flashed. The main character exclaimed to himself, the spiritual herbs here are mine. I must quickly eat the spiritual herbs so I won't be harassed by the perverted senior brother anymore. Damn, there was a sparkling elixir pill. Li Qiu looked at the elixir, drooling. I will forget all my shameful past. I am taking another step on the path to becoming the harem king. Li Qiu dazedly walked closer, reaching out to grab the elixir. At the same time, Yujin Wei had also arrived at a cliff face in an adjacent cave. Seeing a small pool of water, Jin Wei muttered in surprise, is this a bathing pool? Noticing two intersecting slash marks on the cliff wall, Jin Wei wondered if they were intentionally left behind. Suddenly, not far away, a loud noise erupted, startling Yujin Wei. Worried that something bad had happened, she rushed towards the sound, exclaiming, junior brother, what's wrong? On his side, Li Qiu was sitting on the ground, staring in shock at the area below the elixir, which was completely frozen. Having just arrived, Yujin Wei exclaimed in shock, that is Madha Seongsu. As for the main character, he was furious, thinking, Madha Seongsu, a 1,000-year-old spiritual herb formed from extreme yin energy. Although it contains extremely powerful yin cold energy. But it's useless for increasing yang energy. Yu Jian Wei came closer and sat beside the main character, asking, Junior brother, are you alright? I thought something had happened. The main character was silently fuming. Something major has happened, you fool. For me, this is a catastrophe. If strong yin energy accumulates in a man's body, he will become feminized. If I drink the Matha holy water, not only my size, but also the yang energy I've worked so hard to cultivate will disappear. Seeing Li Qiudu suddenly burst into tears, Yu Jin Wei asked worriedly, Junior brother, are you crying? Is everything alright? Though filled with regret, the main character had to say otherwise. These are tears of joy. Then, Li Qiudu turned and said, Senior brother, this must be the legendary Matha holy water. This amount is enough for one person to clear the Ren and Du meridians. Please, senior brother, accept this spiritual herb. Hearing this, Yu Jin Wei's face was a picture of astonishment. She stammered, I can't. Junior brother, you were the one who discovered it first. In his heart, the main character thought, to me, the Matha holy water is no different from garbage. Then, Li Qiudu smiled and continued, it's alright. Even if I were to drink the Matha holy water, with my dull aptitude, it would only be a waste of the spiritual herb. If we split it, the medicinal effect will be half. Therefore, to achieve the best result, you, senior brother, who bears the heavy responsibility of rebuilding our sect, should be the one to use it. Yu Jin Wei, with a look of confused contemplation, refused. Junior brother should be the one to use the Matha holy water. It is precisely because your aptitude is lacking that you need the spiritual herb even more. I believe I can break through to the next realm just by cultivating. Therefore, junior brother, please use this spiritual herb, and stand shoulder to shoulder with me. Hearing Yu Jin Wei's words, Li Qiudu was stunned. He cursed inwardly, this stubborn orthodox fool, he won't even eat what's served to him on a platter. Fine, I'll make it so you can't refuse. Acting on his thought, Li Qiudu grabbed Yu Jin Wei's hand, then put on an adorable expression and said, what if it's a request from your junior brother? Seeing Yu Jin Wei stunned into silence, the main character continued, don't you understand, senior brother? I'm giving you the spiritual herb, because I want what's best for you. Moved, Yu Jin Wei replied, from me. Junior brother. In her heart, she began to feel an even deeper affection for the main character. Yu Jin Wei hesitated, then continued, if you put it that way, I will accept. Seeing Yu Jin Wei's reaction, Li Qiudu thought smugly, that's right. Just mention brotherhood, and he immediately softens up. Li Qiudu explained, Matha holy water is a spiritual herb of the yin attribute, so you must circulate a yin attribute internal energy to use it. Among the martial arts manuals we found, is there a basic yin cold internal energy manual? Yu Jin Wei thought for a moment, then replied, yes. The Sam Hyun Jin Dion. I must memorize the incantation right away. Then Jin Wei took out the Sam Hyun Jin Dion manual, opened it, and began to memorize it. In just a short time, Yu Jin Wei had read through nearly half the book and memorized it. Such speed amazed even Li Qiudu, who marveled, truly a gifted prodigy. It seems he can easily absorb the spiritual herb without my help. After finishing the Sam Hyun Jin Dion, Yu Jin Wei approached the spiritual herb. She wrapped her hands in cloth to avoid being invaded by the cold kai, then carefully cradled the spiritual herb with both hands. Looking at the elixir, Yu Jin Wei thought, Matha holy water. The thing that my junior brother gave to me. No matter what happens, I must absorb it. Without hesitation, Yu Jin Wei immediately put the elixir in her mouth. Suddenly, an indescribable, explosive sensation erupted. Yu Jin Wei collapsed to the ground, clutching her chest and exclaiming, my heart feels like it's freezing. Seeing Yu Jin Wei's strange reaction, Li Qiudu, who was standing behind, quickly called out, Senior brother. Unable to bear it any longer, Yu Jin Wei slumped to the ground again. Streaks of cold ice had appeared on her face. Jin Wei muttered, the yin cold kai is ravaging my body. At this rate, I won't be able to control my true kai anymore. As Li Qiudu approached, he was blocked by a blast of cold wind. He thought in astonishment, the power of the Matha holy water and Yu Jin Wei's internal energy are in violent conflict. Could it be that the yin energy of the holy water is too strong for him to control? Seeing Yu Jin Wei's entire body covered in a thin layer of ice, Li Qiudu thought worriedly, this is a very bad sign. In her subconscious, Yujin Wei felt as if she were falling into a chaotic void. She opened her eyes and looked around in surprise. This is my spiritual world. That's right, I just drank the spiritual herb that junior brother gave me. At the tips of her fingers, there was an ice-cold stream of kai. Yujin Wei thought, I must refine it quickly. Suddenly, Yujin Wei's body fell into a sea of water, then reappeared in a barren land. There, a little girl was using a stone to crush a bird on the ground. The girl smashed it forcefully, exclaiming, "This crow killed a whole family of swallows. I am just killing it for revenge. Why are you all criticizing me? Do you know why people call you a monster?" At that moment, the little girl's eyes glowed red as she turned to look at Yujin Wei. That familiar face turning to look startled Yujin Wei. Suddenly, the little girl's face twisted into a demonic visage, and she lunged at Yujin Wei. Outside, Yujin Wei's body was erupting with increasingly powerful blasts of cold wind. Seeing this, Li Qiuyu thought worriedly, damn it, even with his prodigious talent, his internal energy is still not enough to resist the spiritual energy of the Manhwa holy water. That's why his inner demon is taking the opportunity to invade the weakness in his heart. I thought that with Yujin Wei's talent, he could easily absorb the spiritual herb. I never expected him to have an inner demon. Thinking this, Li Qiuyu took step after step towards Yujin Wei and said, I don't like physical contact, so I didn't want to transfer my energy. But the main character supported Yujin Wei's body and thought, I can't let my growth stock turn into a pile of scrap paper. Li Qiuyu's hand lit up, and he transferred his internal energy into Yujin Wei, saying, Wake up, senior brother. In her sea of consciousness, Yujin Wei was startled. That voice, at that moment, Jin Wei was being choked by her inner demon. She gasped, calling out, Junior brother, I have to quickly control the spiritual energy of the Manhwa holy water. I want to, but my inner demon. Outside, Li Qiuyu's voice reminded her, recite the incantation of the Samyin Jin Gyan. Circulate the yin cold kai through the acupoints I tell you. Then, the main character shouted, if you're not careful, you'll suffer from kai deviation. The yin cold kai emanating from Yujin Wei's body grew stronger. Feeling that intense energy, Li Qiuyu thought, such powerful yin cold kai. It's a good thing you're Yujin Wei, to be able to withstand it. Anyone else would have been crippled long ago. I can't let the senior brother who will create a glorious future for me and bear the responsibility of rebuilding the Kantong sect become a cripple. The main character muttered, you're lucky, Yujin Wei. This junior brother of yours once reached the realm of a peerless master. In the sea of consciousness, the inner demon was tightly gripping Yujin Wei's neck, forcing her down. The inner demon incessantly muttered, tell me why people. Yujin Wei reached out, grabbed a nearby rock, and without mercy, smashed it into the inner demon's face. After breaking free, Yujin Wei quickly fled. Behind her, the inner demon shrieked madly. As Yujin Wei ran, she thought, the inner demon. The price for the power I've had since birth, and also the instinct that is always lurking, waiting for me to be weak. At the same time, the inner demon had caught up and threw a powerful punch at Yujin Wei. Yujin Wei could only cross her arms to block. Yujin Wei's body was sent flying, crashing into a large rock in the distance. Yujin Wei spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The young girl was in great pain. Seeing the inner demon so powerful, Jin Wei thought helplessly, am I about to be devoured by it? How humiliating. Suddenly, Yujin Wei was surprised to hear Li Qiuyu's voice reaching her. Don't give up, senior brother. Yujin Wei's whole body lit up as abundant internal energy poured out from within her. Looking at her palms, Yujin Wei muttered, I can feel junior brother's true kai. Could it be that he's transferring his internal energy from the outside? Outside, Li Qiuyu was continuously transferring his energy while reminding her. Wake up, senior brother, don't stop circulating your kai. Don't be deceived by the inner demon, the important thing is to absorb the spiritual herb. I will try to open your acupoints for you. Even though it's painful, try to create an opportunity for me. Looking up at the sky, Yujin Wei thought in confusion, outside is in chaos because of the yin gold kai I can't control. This is so difficult. And yet, junior brother is still risking danger to help me. Here the inner demon continued to aggressively lunge at Yujin Wei. Jin Wei was no longer afraid. The young girl clenched her fist, preparing to fight back. And so, the two rushed at each other. Jin Wei shouted, I can't give up. And with that, the inner demon took a full punch from Jin Wei right in the middle of its face. This time, it was the inner demon's turn to be sent flying, its body crashing into the rock behind it. The inner demon was crushed by a broken piece of the rock. Suddenly, Jin Wei spat out another mouthful of blood onto the ground. Panting, Jin Wei thought, I understand what junior brother is trying to do. He wants me to absorb the spiritual energy of the holy water first to supplement my internal energy, and then suppress the inner demon. If the inner demon appears because it senses my weakened internal energy, the solution is very simple. I just need to supplement my internal energy. On the other side, the inner demon suddenly punched through the rock that was crushing it, then got up and glared aggressively at Jin Wei. Unsurprisingly, it continued to rush like a moth to a flame. Rushing towards Jin Wei, who was sitting in meditation. Sensing the inner demon attacking Jin Wei, Li Qiudu said, "Here it comes." And so, the main character transferred his internal energy even more powerfully into Jin Wei. Inside her consciousness, as the inner demon was about to reach Jin Wei, a surge of power transformed into staves that blocked its path and restrained it. Seeing the inner demon restrained, Li Qiudu exclaimed, "Now is the time. Senior brother. Rensheng point, Dansheng point, Yinjiao point, Huiyan point." Suddenly, Jin Wei's entire body was covered in sweat, and she gritted her teeth in pain. Seeing this, Li Qiudu urged, "Don't stop. Clear the Ren Meridian." At the same time, the inner demon broke free from its restraints and continued its ferocious charge. But just as its hand was about to touch Jin Wei's face, it abruptly stopped. At that moment, Jin Wei's eyes, full of calmness, opened. Then, an invisible pressure crushed the inner demon to the ground, causing the ground to shatter. It then gradually submerged the inner demon into the earth. The ground caved in, creating a pit. The pit was like a bottomless abyss, dragging the inner demon down with it. Outside, the space had become quieter. Li Qiudu was still transferring his internal energy to Jin Wei. Qiudu let out a sigh of relief. Her true kai has stabilized. It seems she has successfully absorbed the spiritual herb. Qiudu said, "You did well, senior brother. Now, guide the yin cold kai to the Beifui point. It won't be long before you reach the realm of the Ren and Du meridians." Damn. Inside her consciousness, Jin Wei's body seemed to have been cleansed, and her figure was quite slender and smooth. Jin Wei silently asked, "Junior brother, are you sure you're alright? It's always been this way. You always think of me, training day and night to become strong, yet you always give the important things to me." The image of Li Qiudu was now very beautiful in Jin Wei's heart. Jin Wei thought gratefully, "You always think of me. I am very grateful for your kindness. I am very happy, and also very sad, because I want you to know how to care for yourself too. Thanks to you, I escaped a crippled fate. I will never forget this debt. To repay you this kindness, even if the whole world turns its back on you, I will always be by your side." Back in reality, Li Qiudu looked over at Jin Wei in surprise and muttered, "Oh, he's entered a meditative state. Truly a gifted prodigy. Senior brother's meridians and acupoints are completely different from ordinary people's. How troublesome. He's really a handful. Are there really no other spiritual herbs? I thought there would be a spiritual herb to make me strong, but instead, it's the Manhwa holy water. No wonder he avoided women so much in his past life. Already having feminized breasts, and then being invaded by yin energy, he must have felt even more insecure. Anyway, I'm annoyed that I had to go through all this trouble." Suddenly Qiudu saw something reddish peeking out from behind the rock where the Manhwa holy water had been. Approaching, he saw that it was a type of plant, like moss, clinging to the rock face. Li Qiudu mused, "This moss can still survive in this yin cold environment. I thought it was a weed. That there's yang energy radiating from around this moss. It's growing so lushly." The young man grinned and muttered, "This must be Hanhyanko red yang grass. Though a tier below the Manhwa holy water, Hanhyanko is also a precious spirit herb." The young man sat down, his eyes wide as he stared at the patch of Hanhyanko. From outside the cave, Qiudu's shout could be heard. The young man yelled with joy, "That's right. It must be. Mujikja couldn't have left only the Manhwa holy water." He immediately reached out, grabbed a handful of Hanhyanko, and exclaimed, "This is mine." Without hesitation, he stuffed it into his mouth and chewed greedily, thinking smugly, "That's right. Regression means monopolizing treasures." After eating, Li Qiudu began to meditate and absorb the spiritual herb. He thought, "Now, I'll start cultivating too." Normally, people would guide the spiritual energy of the herb to their dantian and convert it into internal energy, but I will diffuse the spiritual energy of the Hanhyanko throughout my body to absorb it. Only with a healthy body can yang energy be abundant. Come to me, masculine yang energy. Li Qiudu's whole body grew hot, and sweat poured off him as if he were in a sauna. However, the main character was still ecstatic. "How long has it been since I've felt such true yang energy? Though not as good as the Manhwa holy water, Thanks to it, I've gained a strong and healthy body. I'm lucky. After finishing the absorption, Li Qiu, a bit tired, stood up and looked towards a cave entrance on the other side. Qiu muttered, it seems Yu Jin Wei has finished circulating his energy, and has gone to bathe. I feel uncomfortable too. Maybe I should go take a bath as well. This is Mujikja's grotto, so there must be a bathing pool inside. In the bathing pool, Yu Jin Wei had undressed and was soaking in the water. As she bathed, the young girl exclaimed in delight, "Wow! This is wonderful." Suddenly Qiu's voice called from outside, startling Jin Wei. "Senior brother, are you bathing?" Yu Jin Wei quickly exclaimed, Yes, junior brother. Don't come in." It turned out the main character was sitting and waiting outside. He replied, Okay, I'll wait outside." Inside, Yu Jin Wei sighed in relief. That was close. I can't let junior brother see me in this state. But it had to be admitted, Yu Jin Wei's body was quite stunning. Jin Wei continued to mutter to herself, I almost revealed my female identity to junior brother. Because I've had to live as a man my whole life, I'm always flustered in these situations. Master once taught me that in the traitorous martial world, only as a man can one avoid being looked down upon and face fewer hardships. Luckily, I took the spiritual herb in time. Without junior brother, I would have become a cripple. Such a good person is my junior brother. Not only was he willing to share a precious spiritual herb, but he also wasn't jealous or envious of me for having a greater talent in martial arts. I want to do something for junior brother too. At this, Yu Jin Wei's face flushed red. Damn, don't tell me this young lady is going to repay the eunuch with her body. Suddenly snapping out of her daze, Yu Jin Wei thought shellily, why am I like this? Just thinking about junior brother makes my heart pound. I want to always be on your side to shield and protect you from all difficulties, and then be with you. Damn, she's really thinking that. Ha ha ha. Startled again from her daydream, she shot up. The author is being criticized here for drawing a censored scene. Yu Jin Wei scolded herself, am I crazy? What am I thinking? Though junior brother is closer to me than a real brother, I can't let these feelings go too far. My feelings are only those of brotherhood. I must stop these silly thoughts. Finally, Yu Jin Wei finished dressing. Looking at her palms, she thought, I can't rebuild the sect, can't care for and protect you, can't stand by your side with this weak female body. I must be a man. Outside, the eunuch, Li Qiu, grew impatient from the long wait. He's taking a long time to bathe. A real man would be done in 5 minutes. Of course he's meticulous, so he has to wash thoroughly so the ladies won't complain. Looking around, the main character marveled, this Guangsong Dan Hill is really spacious. The night, luminescent pearls everywhere are a testament to the wealth of the Kongtung sect in the past. Who would have thought that the sect that once produced the Huanman Sword Emperor, Mujikja, the #1 under heaven, would decline to this extent? According to the records from my past life, after the Kongtung tragedy 50 years ago, only one person from the sect survived, the Thunder Sword, Bai Xian. At that time, Bai Xian was being punished in the Repentance Cave for indiscipline, which is how he escaped death. But his martial arts weren't very high. The important martial arts manuals were all burned in the library pavilion. The sect guarding ultimate techniques of Kongtung were thus lost. Carrying this deep regret, before he died, Bai Xian took in and raised a disciple. That disciple is the current sect leader of Kongtung, the demon, subduing swordsman, Zhou Yan. Though the title demon, subduing swordsman sounds very impressive, everyone knows that in this era, it carries a mocking tone because the title was given by the Black Dao sect, the Four Shadows Society. The Four Shadows Society was always lurking, wanting to seize the remaining lands of the Kongtung sect, so they gave him that title to mock the fact that the Kongtung sect had lost its demon, subduing sword art. Therefore, finding these martial arts manuals is a major discovery. Though Mujikja couldn't have foreseen the future when he built the Guangsong Danhill for the Kongtung sect, this is nothing short of a great blessing. If the legend that Mujikja raised all records of the Guangsong Danhill to live in seclusion is true, then it's understandable why the demonic cult never found this place. Thinking this, Li Qiu grew curious. Wait, thinking about it, it's strange. Why would Mujikja erase the records of Guangsong Danhill, a place considered a sacred ground, just to live in seclusion? For the Kongtung sect of that time, there were many who could find the sacred ground even if blindfolded. It's impossible that a sect that was once the #1 in Gansu could have predicted its own decline before the demonic cult's attack. Just because of Mujikja's wish, the sacred ground was erased from history. There's another strange thing. In my past life, after obtaining the spiritual herb, Yu Jin Wei returned here a while later for secluded cultivation, but at that time, the cave was sealed. Currently, the Gwangsong Danhill is very safe, with no signs of collapse. It feels like it could stand firm for several more decades. Did the Gwangsong Danhill in my past life really collapse on its own? While Li Qiu's he was lost in thought, Eugene, we had finished and stepped out, calling, "Junior brother, have you been waiting long?" After bathing, Eugene Wade, with a dignified air, looked at Li Qiu and urged, "Hurry up and take your bath." Seeing Eugene Wade's appearance made Li Qiu very surprised. The young man exclaimed inwardly, "Whoa, is this the effect of the Manhwa holy water? He looks even more beautiful today." That makes sense, but... Suddenly, Li Qiu punched himself in the face, startling Eugene. "Why? Junior brother, what's wrong?" Li Qiu replied, "I was just thinking about something silly. I'm going to bathe now." Tossing his clothes on the bank, Li Qiu thought, "Eugene, why? How is he getting more and more handsome? Could the floral scent on his body also be due to meticulous grooming? I wear a scented pouch too, but my face is too ugly." Looking at his reflection in the water, the main character grew angry and suddenly punched the water, shouting, "Humph, you damned enchanting Jumi," term for a captivatingly beautiful, often dangerously so, person. A while later, the main character had finished bathing and came out dressed. He saw Eugene Wei laying out several martial arts manuals on the ground. The main character asked curiously, "Senior brother, what are you doing?" Eugene Wei looked up and replied, "Junior brother, you're done bathing. I'm organizing the manuals." Hearing this, the main character thought again, "Indeed, when we return to the Sect Mountain, the Kongtung sect will have recovered a portion of its lost ultimate techniques. Before there was only the initial Yan Heart method, a pure young internal art. But now we've found the Sam Nim Jin Dion, the foundation of in-pulled internal arts. It's as if we've recovered the complete internal art system. When the initial Yang Heart method and the Sam Nim Jin Kiam are cultivated to the highest level, they can merge into the Hanwon Iljigon Primordial Unity Kai art, a more powerful art. But the Hanwon Iljigon is probably not here. So, in total, there are 8 manuals including the Demon's Subduing Sword art." The main character picked up the stack of manuals and counted them, then asked with confusion, "Senior brother, there are only 7 manuals." Eugene Wei replied, "Yes. He searched everywhere. There are only these 7. The main character asked in surprise, "What about the demon, the doing sword art?" "It's not here." Eugene Wei replied, "Oh." The main character was shocked. "What's going on? In my past life, senior brother clearly found the demon's subduing sword art here. The information from Dongqing Eastern Debate can't be wrong. If that's the case, then the Huanwan Sword Emperor didn't record the demon, the subduing sword art in a manual. This isn't without precedent. There are many ways for masters of the past to transmit their martial arts to posterity. I just don't know what method the Huanwan Sword Emperor, a supreme master of martial arts, used to leave behind his sword art." Suddenly, Eugene Wei spoke up. That's right. I remember now. I saw sword marks carved on the cliff face behind the bathing room." Li Qiu exclaimed in surprise, "Sword marks?" Eugene Wei rushed off and said, "I'll take you there. Follow me." As the main character ran after him, he asked, "Maybe they're just scratches on the cliff face." Eugene Wei glanced back and replied, "You'll know when you see it. The sword marks are strange, yet heartbreakingly beautiful."